No one ever talks about the sex trafficking in the United States, let alone in the city of Los Angeles. We've come or maybe want to believe sex trafficking only happens in developing nations where poverty prevails. But sex trafficking in the Los Angeles County is a real ongoing issue. Sex trafficking is defined as any commercial sex act or labor induced by force, fraud, or coercion. Over 2,794 human trafficking cases have been reported to the National Human Trafficking Resource Center.org just this year. 477 of those cases have been from California. Over 33% of those cases are child victims. In 2014, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children estimated that 1 in 6 endangered runaways reported to them were likely sex trafficking victims. SoarOptimist.org explains that women and girls are ensnared in sex trafficking in a variety of ways. Some are lured with offers of legitimate and legal work as shop assistants or waitresses. Others are promised marriage, educational opportunities, and a better life. Still, others are sold into trafficking by boyfriends, friends, neighbors, or even parents. On October 14, 2014, Mike Kessler shared a story about a sex trafficking victim in the Los Angeles Magazine. The story is about a girl named Jasmine, who at 14 years old in 2019 became a sex trafficking victim. She made a phone call on one of those party line services where you pay to talk with strangers. After some small flirting and a persuasive, "Can I meet you?" he rolled up to her South LA home near 91st Street and Normandy. He went by the name of Suave and was of age 32. Her single mother was a drug addict and could care less what Jasmine was up to. He took Jasmine to a club and they had some drinks. Afterwards, on the way home, he pulled over and they had sex in the back seat. The two were together whenever Jasmine wasn't in school. He bought her nice clothes, manicures, extensions, everything her mother couldn't give her. 6 months passed, and one night, Suave stopped on Southwestern Avenue, where prostitutes in front of cheap motels beckoned clients. Suave explained how things would be from then on. "He told me what I had to do, gave me my prices. He said 80, and for head, 50. She got his name tattooed above her private area, flanked by a pair of dollar signs, meant to indicate, as she explained, that the vagina makes the money for him, so it's his." Suave had done so much for her, so he demanded evidence of her gratitude. There are many cases that are similar to Jasmine's in the sense that someone lied to them.
I read that the National Human Trafficking Resource Center, uh, they reported about 9,000 human trafficking cases per year. But if you're answering for other people, then most people would be at very high risk of becoming a victim. How often do you have to report that, like sex trafficking around here?
Probably, I mean, it doesn't come in the form of saying this is sex trafficking going on. It goes in the form of, hey, you know what? We saw a U-Haul pull up and 10 girls got out, kicked them out on Figueroa. Had reports of missing kids. And then about like 6 months later, they turn up. They're found, and they're just, you see them out on Figueroa. In this area, it's well run by the gang members out here.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're the ones who run the territory, especially if you get south of, say, 103rd Street. Certain gangs are into certain things, like certain gangs are into street robbery, some are into stealing cars, some are into sex trafficking.
The LAPD department, I got that a lot of them actually end up being like pastors, diplomats, youth leaders, law enforcement, educators.
Sex traffickers?
Yeah.
Oh, that I didn't know. Looking at these traffickers too, one thing that I've noticed about them is that they're very good at reading people. They're very good at picking out the ones that, if you see a female or whatnot or a male that has a high self-esteem, they walk with their shoulders back, or head up, they have like self-confidence about them. They're not going to go after those.
Yeah.
They're very good at finding the weak ones. I go to calls of millions of family disputes or whatnot, and I see a lot of parents. Parents do the best they can, but sometimes it's like, you try to talk to them about, look, I've seen the end result if the kids keep going down this road. And I've had to go back a lot of times when I've had to go and tell them, hey, your kid he's not coming home tonight. And you're just at a radio call a week before trying to help him, and now it's too late. I think they're going to say, okay, yeah, he did this for me. I did it because I love him.
Yeah.
Well, no, well, who does that? You know, I think he's holding you basically as like a sex slave. Oh, no. And then he's going to say, oh, no, man, she did it because she loves me, man. She's my girl, you know. We're going to be together forever.
Yeah.
I do know that, you know, part of over here on Figueroa now, we do have a prostitution detail that deals with, you know, they do arrest them, but they also try to get them services to be able to help them out, whereas that never existed before.
Until when?
Probably in the last 3 months.
Their socioeconomic status and maybe some of their home life. We have a lot of foster kids here.
Mm-hmm.
So
You have a lot of foster kids here?
I do. We have a high population of foster students. Maybe 12 to 15% of our students are foster. And so I think that does open them up to the possibility of falling into that. I would hope not. We try to monitor. I have counselors and therapists on staff, and teachers have been trained to look for specific signs or signals. So, you know, we can never be 100% sure, but I don't think so. We know a lot of our children come from broken homes, as I said, foster, single family, various, you know, situations. And we know that sometimes the school is the one constant. So no matter what, once they come through the doors, they know what they're going to get. You know, a lot of them, this is their meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner. We serve everything. I have a before school program that starts at 7 a.m. I have an after school program that goes until 6. So some of our kids are here 12, 13 hours a day. Mm. Well, what we try to do is to create a safe environment. As I said, I try to work with our local law enforcement agencies to make sure that the students are safe coming and going from school. So we try to be proactive instead of reactive. I would hate for something to happen, and then we, you know, go into that mode. So we work diligently with our community to make sure that the school is safe and the area around us is safe. I do hire staff members to work specifically with parents. So that's something that I do, not necessarily the norm. Would I like to see more parent participation? Yes.
There isn't much?
I have 1,100 kids, and I may see 30 to 40 parents on a consistent basis. Wow. So I do believe that part of what we owe kids to give them that fair chance is to provide those resources and supports at the school.
And you believe that the school isn't well funded enough to
At
be
all.
able to provide the resources they need?
No.
This is a much deeper problem.
It is. I think it's systemic to, you know, it branches off into, you know, fair and equal treatment. You know, we want to say that all schools are created equal and all children get a fair shot, but some of our kids are already coming to us with so many disadvantages that when they walk through the front door, we're already behind.
It's like it's made for kids to fall into that.
Exactly. It's almost set up for failure, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to kind of be an outside of the box type of thinker. And when you're running a school of this size, you need a team of outside of the box people who are willing to go above and beyond the traditional duties of our role. And I'm lucky, so I have that.
One of our ministries is human trafficking, our Project Hope ministry, and we work with federal and local law enforcement to be able to rescue women that have been sex trafficked. Hand out lip glosses. We build relationships with the girls, and on the lip glosses there is a 800 hotline number that they can call if they want to be rescued. Short-term housing and long-term housing. It's a 4-phased program for those that are staying long-term, and so it's rescue, rebuild, restore, and re-enter. Have to testify against the person that enslaved them or a pimp, and so we want to be able to make sure that we are keeping their identity as secret as possible to protect, to give some anonymity for them, to make sure that they're feeling safe. The restore process, that looks like psychiatric counseling, them going to counselors. A lot of these girls have been in some traumatic situations where they've been caged up, locked away for hours at a time. And so we help them to be able to restore themselves, from a mental and not just physical, but mental and spiritual standpoint. We're actually helping them to transition out successfully and get back to independent living. And that's, helping them to build up their resume, gaining job skills, having them work on their GED. But there's a great need in Los Angeles, and our team is working really hard every week to be able to get those girls that are, in need to be able to get them back on a path of healing and restoration.